If you go over there to Ezekiel, and it says thou, and this passage here, right here, it says thou art fallen. We'll get into that. But he kicks him out for his pride. And he kicks him out of heaven. He was, thou art the anointed cherub which covered the throne. And God kicks him out. Where does he kick, and where does he go? Where did he kick him out to? Well, I'll tell you what, that gap theory, they call it, gap fact, a lot of people say, I don't believe that stuff, but Satan, I believe his old domain was right here on this earth. And then God destroyed it, and then there was a water and a form of void, and God divided the waters and made land and moved right there. And but you know what? Satan is covering his tracks by changing all that, where he takes the dragon out, he takes out where he was put, and he don't want you to know where he come from. We're taking his place. And we're seeing, he had pipes, and he had all that, and you know what we're to do? We're to sing unto the Lord. You know what he does down here? He sings his music. Y'all ever see them cartoons of the half goat and half man playing his pipes? That's what we're talking, the Seder. Yep, drawing the children, putting them in the pot, you know, I'm going to eat you. Hypnotizing them. Hey, them cartoons got a lot in them. There's more Bible in them things than you. But anyway, you see that, and the devil covers that stuff, and he's got it to where we're asleep, and he's playing us right into the hell is where he's taking us. And thank God for the blood of Jesus Christ and the light. All right, let's go back to Isaiah there. Now I'm going to tell you something. That stuff there, you don't want to get hung up in that stuff. Stay in the blood of Jesus Christ. Stay in, you're saved by grace through faith. Stay in that Jesus Christ is coming, but it's in the Bible right there. And when all the demons of hell come around you, and them bad music and stuff, you better learn to get right at the foot of the cross of Jesus Christ and get the blood over you. And there's so much spiritual wickedness in this world, and if you take that on without the blood of Christ, you can't take it on. God's got to handle that, and you better not focus your time on that. That interests a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people get interested in that, and they go way off. They go way off. And I know we went over it, but it's in here. And there is so much in this book that it'll blow your mind. And you got to be careful. Make sure you stay on the simple things of Christ. Dragons and owls. Now you got Isaiah 34:13, Isaiah 43:20, and Micah 1:8 is on the dragons and owl. Now look at chapter. Now that's talking about Babylon right there. And I think Larkin, he mentioned that Babylon's going to be built again. The Lord's going to destroy it over there. Dr. Ruckman says a city built on a hill. That's a plain where Larkin was talking. So I don't know which one is which. I just know Babylon is going to be dealt with, and the Lord's going to deal with them there. And God's going to make it into a place where the owl is, and there's nothing there but just a bunch of dead things. And God's going to make it like that. He's going to judge them according to that because of the way they treated Israel. All right, chapter 14. And Babylon is associated to the devil right there. Now, chapter 14, the son of perdition. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants, handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will give thee rest from thy sorrow, from thy fear, from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. The tables turn. If you read Esther and Haman trying to destroy the Jews, and the tables get turned where Haman gets hung on his own gallows. That's what's going on right there. That's what's going on. The tables turn, and you've got to be careful the way you treat the Israel. The Lord's going to judge each nation about how they treated Israel. America right now is going to be judged for what we're doing to Israel. Any nation. And God's going to judge them over that. Then 10 kings of the east, you know, the Lord let them, and it works out in His will, but when they come over, they treat Israel and they come around, God's going to judge them for that. And they get judged for that. And you better not curse Israel or anything like that. You better treat them right. Verse 1 in chapter 14 is, you can say 1948 right there. That little phrase, and set them in their own land, and strangers shall join with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And God gathers them from all over the place. Now there's a thing you need to know. There's a bunch of guys out there that's saying they got to be saved before they do that. Nope, the Lord's putting them all right there right now. And that's what you have in 1948, and God gathers them together, and they're not going to get saved until they see their Redeemer. And then God's going to give them a new heart. And so you need to think about that, and need to know that. All right, Israel, Jacob is blessed. Look at Genesis 32:28. Genesis 32:28. I think that's where you'll see where Jacob's name is changed to Israel. You don't have to turn there. Let's go. It says, cleave to the house of Jacob. A good reference there, go to Zechariah 8:23. Zechariah 8:23. We'll have to. I'm getting there. Zechariah 8:23. Here's a good cross reference. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men out of one language even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. See how you're blessed with the Jew? What God's going to do, He's going to set them up, and you're going to go to the Jew and be under them. They're going to rule. And God's going to set them up. No nation has been dealt with like the nation of Israel by the Lord. You go to Deuteronomy 32:10, you'll find that Israel is the apple of God's eye. Lamentation 2:18, that's the apple of His eye. Zechariah, we're right there in Zechariah. Go to chapter 2, verse 8. Chapter 2, verse 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath He sent me unto the nations which spoil you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of His eye. That's the Lord. And when we're messing, when the USA messes with Israel, they're messing with God's apple of His eye. They shall rule over you. And do you see that verse 1 where it says the tables are turned? In other words, them people that ruled over them and killed them and mistreated them, they're going to use them as servants. Say, is that going to happen? That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Esther 9:1. Go to Esther. Esther 9:1. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment is decreed, drew near to be put in execution. In that day, the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. Same thing. Same thing. They're going to rule over the nations that persecuted them. So in verse 2, in 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. You have the same thing right there. So they're going to rule over Germany, Spain, France, every one of them. And they're going to go to there. And they will go back and forth. That's rest to Israel. Rest to Israel. And we are out of time. I'm going to stop right there.